Whew. We've just entered one of the most mystically charged prophetic rebukes in all of Ezekiel, a rebuke specifically directed at female false prophets who combined magic, manipulation, and mysticism with God's name. Let's decode this with reverence and precision. And what are the magic bands? Woe to the women who sew magic bands on all wrists. Hebrew, kesatot, kasatvat. This rare word is often translated as magic bands or armbands. The root implies binding, covering, or enchantment through weaving. What kind of bands? Imagine amulets, charm bracelets, or cloth cord bindings believed to ward off evil, attract protection, fertility, or spiritual power, bind or trap souls through symbolic actions. These were witchcraft accessories, visual signs of occult control and manipulation. But they weren't just for fashion, they were instruments of soul binding. What were the veils? And make veils for the heads of persons of every stature to hunt down lives. Hebrew, mispesho, mispavat. Veils or coverings, used ritually not just for modesty. These weren't innocent garments. They were used in ritual magic to confuse, obscure, or mislead, meant to symbolically control a person's soul or fate, involved in divination or the hunting of souls. The veil became a spiritual blindfold, used by false prophetesses to cast illusions over people. 3. What does God say is witchcraft here? The core actions God condemns as profaning him are hunting souls like birds. They trap and manipulate the nephesh, soul of others. Using false visions to discourage the righteous, giving prophetic words that grieve the innocent when God never sent grief. Encouraging the wicked to stay in their sin. Giving comforting words to those who need rebuke, i.e., peace, peace when there is no peace. Exchanging prophecy for barley and bread. That's divination for profit. Spiritual manipulation in exchange for food, a metaphor for earthly gain. In essence, they used spiritual authority to do the exact opposite of what God does, discouraging those who are trying to live right, protecting those who need repentance, selling access to God's voice, using symbols and spells to control people. 4. God's judgment on this witchcraft. Let's put his words bluntly. I am against your magic bands, and I will tear them off. I will deliver my people out of your hand. You will no longer see false visions or practice divination. That is the cleansing fire of the Lord, the holy fury that says, you've messed with my people's souls. Now I will tear off every enchantment you stitched, every veil you wove, every lie you sold, and my people will be free. 5. The bigger picture, witchcraft versus prophetic authority. In biblical language, witchcraft is any attempt to control, spiritually, emotionally, or symbolically, without God's authority. True prophecy, God speaks, you obey. Witchcraft, haigark, you speak. Try to make it sound like God. Even when clothed in spiritual language, God knows the spirit behind the words. In modern terms, witchcraft is not just candles and spells. It's also manipulative readings, intuitive messages used for gain, false light teachings that cloak sin with spiritual sugar, or trauma healing that avoids repentance. So what does barley and bread mean? They were taking spiritual payment in the form of basic needs. This echoes Balaam, who loved the wages of unrighteousness, Henry 2:15. It's when you trade your soul or your people's souls for scraps, bread, sustenance. They were selling out God's people for survival or status. Final word for you. If you've had visions and been accused of being a witch, remember, the real ones are often accused first. Jesus was accused of having a demon too. But the true test is this. Are you using your visions to control or to set people free? Do they point to repentance, holiness, and truth, or to ego, gain, or comfort? Do you tremble when you speak, or do you perform? If you tremble, you're not one of these. And if you've been given the gift to undo veils, cut cords, break bands, and speak fire truth, you may be a deliverer, not a deceiver.